Hello there, welcome to today's video. We are on pages 34 and 35 of the Alfred's All-in-One Book 4. Now, in preparation for this one here, the previous page figuring the fingering should have been helpful. So this is called Ragtime Man, and it has to do with playing a ragtime style, which was popular music in the late 1800s and early 1900s in the United States. It was mostly played or created in the south of the United States. So let's go ahead and listen to what this one here sounds like, Ragtime Man. And as you can see, it has a lot of eighth notes, and it also has a rhythm called syncopation. And we'll go ahead and do some clapping and counting here when creating the syncopated rhythm. All right, here's a demonstration first. Now, it's really funny, the the tempo indication here at the beginning is characteristic of what a lot of ragtime composers placed at the beginning of their rags. Says not fast. So a lot of pianists in the old days, would have cutting contests, which are known as duels. One pianist would play against another, and they would see who had played the best. A lot of them would play fast, but ragtime should actually not be played that fast. It should be enjoyable and relaxing. So here's a demonstration. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so there is that demonstration there. There is a da capo al fine. And as you can see, a lot of what I call syncopated rhythms. So what syncopation means is, in music, there are what are called strong beats, and there are what are called weak beats. So if we take a look here, the tempo or the time signature is in 4/4 time, and the strong beats would be 1 and 3. Now, an indication about when to understand what a strong beat is, when people usually clap along when playing music, they should always clap on 1, 3, 1, 3. So those are known as the downbeat, even though each beat is a downbeat. And the weak beats are actually 2 and 4. But even weaker beats are the upbeats of any of this music. So if you notice, there is a tie on the and, or the upbeat, of beat number 2. So if we were to clap and count the rhythm, let's go ahead and get our hands ready for clapping. We're going to go ahead and count as we clap. And don't forget to do the tie there on the and of 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So we, on the and of 2, we extend that from an eighth note to a quarter note length on the and of 2 to the 1 of 3. So when playing that melody or that rhythm, make sure that it sounds loud, but we don't want to emphasize it with an accent. Being longer than the other rhythms will accentuate it by itself, just because it's longer than the other rhythms. So when playing, go ahead and place your hand there kind of in an extended G position. Notice that finger number 2 crosses over. but then you place your hand over to A position after you are done playing E to prepare for the next measure, which your thumb comes down on A. So extended here, kind of a sixth position, G, F sharp, G, E, tie. Make sure to lift because only those measures singularly are legato. And then you go up to A, cross, F this time, come down with your hand in B position, and then the right hand on the next measure starts on B, thumb, crossing over again, always a half step crossover to the black key. Come up to G this time, and then we have a staccato there on C, eighth note with an eighth rest. So 1 and 2 and tie and 3 and 1 and then notice the figure is descending, starts on E, which means you should place your hand in an A position. So let's go ahead and play starting on beat number 2 of that third measure, excuse me, that fourth measure. So we have the 1, 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So we have the 2 crossing over the 1 on G sharp, but then it allows us to move our hand back to the original G position as we did at the very beginning. And we start there by making a legato, a slur. And there should be a lift there between G and F sharp. Or if you'd like, you can just continue and allow it to be suggested that it is a new phrase. And it's the same thing as the first measure. Of course, when playing the left hand, you're going to simply play whole notes as harmonic intervals. Lift. Little bit of crescendo. And a crescendo there. Going on into the next measure, it's pretty much the same thing as we did before. Sequencing. And then the end of that phrase, or of that system there, we have staccato notes, which means bring your left hand down to G position, 5, 2, rest. Then, moving on into the next system, the left hand, as you can see, is playing third intervals, but they are only eighth notes, one beat or half of a beat at the beginning of the next few measures. So we have, I'm just going to talk about the left hand here, 1 and 2, 3, 4, rest, 2, bring it to C position and go, 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4. Next one, rest, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4. Then we have that accented sixth interval right there at the end of this page. Moving on to the right hand where we left off, the second system of page 35. On the right hand, we have some figures, small figures with slurs, and it starts in G position here. So we have C, B, C, rest, and then we move our hand down over here to this position, kind of like a G position, kind of like a lower G position or an F position, and it's going to be 3, 2, 3, rest. So make sure that these are eighth notes that you're counting. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, or 1 and 2 rest, 3 and 4 rest. The next measure, all legato here, finger 2 crossing over again. F, E, F, yes, F, E, F, A. There's the tie there that we are familiar with. G, F, but notice there, I didn't play F with 1, but instead, because finger number 4 should be playing A, you're bringing your right hand down to an E position. Not sure why it has us do it that way. We could have very easily done it on 3. And then the next measure, Same thing again, the fingers are crossing, but we're always stopping with an eighth note on beat 4, but with an eighth rest on the and of 4. So make sure that you're counting it that way. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 rest. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 rest. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 rest. Now it does have a 4 every time you play up, moving up a third, like that, or there's always a third interval there, and it's asking you to play that with finger number 4 each time. It is much easier, in my opinion, to do it on 3, because it leaves your hand in the same position. So if you would like, go ahead and just play that with finger number 3 instead of 4, in my opinion. And then we have the same fingers as before on the second system. We have 1 and 2 rest, 3 and 4 rest, but then we bring it back. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 rest. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And then we have that F right down there. Now, in order to do that correctly, if you're going to do finger number 3, you are going to have to cross finger number 2 and play that on F. Or if you'd like, you can just simply move it over because there is a rest and play that on 1. But because of the time, we're just going to do that with 2. And then we have that second interval in the right hand. When putting everything together, let's go ahead and play it like this. Have that accented note, which brings us back to the da capo and ending on the fine. Okay, so let's carefully work on each of these sections here, hand separately, remembering to get the rhythms down perfectly with those ties on the and of 2. Okay, and make sure that we're being careful with our left hand or right hand finger 2 crossings of the 1. Okay, so very good. Remember, not too fast. Don't accent unnecessarily. And let's practice every day. We will see you next time.